Hey everybody, welcome to a podcast that Digibro, am doing with Rebel Pixels on his channel, and you're all watching it. We're going to be talking about the problems that we see with the YouTube platform, something which Tom here has been going on about in a few recent videos, yeah?
Yeah, recent, like 2 months ago, but they... it's been a problem I've been talking about for a while. I think it's a problem that has been... It's a topic that's been perpetually relevant. It doesn't seem to be going away. You would think, like, if I sat on a topic for like 2 months or something, it wouldn't matter anymore. But it's only getting more and more relevant as time's going on. More and more people are waking up to the idea that, like, YouTube's going to shit and that things are happening, and it's kind of shifting gears, I think, away from what it's been before. And especially with the recent thing with the boycott with the AdSense stuff, like, that's definitely something that's on a lot of people's minds right now. And I guess YouTube just kind of becoming a different thing. Like, would we agree on that? Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the problem here is, I also made a vlog about this recently, is this weird kind of two-way street where simultaneously YouTube is becoming a bigger and bigger problem, but also more and more people are coming to it, and it's becoming harder and harder to leave. And I think what we're going to talk about here is sort of what the problem is with YouTube, and also how we can maybe try to get away from it. Like, how we can all run away from this thing that's sucking us all in and lowering our quality of life on the internet.
It's definitely, yeah, because like the first two things I was talking about, and which you touched on in your video, which is why I kind of decided to reach out to you for this one, was the idea that because we're both in our late 20s, so
yeah,
we were interneting pre-YouTube and all that kind of stuff, and like social media in general. So back in the day, if you were gonna find content, you kind of had to search for it yourself. Like, you'd Google search, or you just kind of like find things kind of almost by accident. You know, Newgrounds was a big thing, E-Bomb's World, Albino Black Sheep. Like, there were tons of like small little niche things, and you'd have to go out and find them all. And even though the internet...
And lots of just websites. Most people, even if you found something through an aggregator, like... let's say you were on like a fiction aggregate. What's that? Wow, God, what's the website that I had one of my fictions posted on before? But like, there would be sites that would aggregate a bunch of people's work, but then once you knew about it, you went to their website. You know,
yeah, everybody had a website. That was like the norm. You know,
yeah,
you had, because like there weren't like the microblogging things weren't really a huge thing. Blogger wasn't even something really back in the early days. If you wanted your own space, you had to have your own website. Like, you just had to go out and build it.
Even if it was built through something else, like WordPress was, like, you use the system that is WordPress, but it was still your blog that people had to go to. There wasn't like the way there is with Tumblr, where it's a feed of everyone's blogs.
Exactly.
And I think that what has happened to the internet is that everything has become feed dependent. Nobody can just have a site that you have to go to anymore. You now have to be somehow in a feed. And there's the problem with it is that in order to get into these feed-based websites, then you have to kind of adapt to them. You have to become the format that site is, and it's homogenizing everyone's content online.
Yeah, because the more you have to, you're less. It's less about this is what I want to do, and more about this is what I have to do in order to make money, and how can I kind of shoehorn my desires into that format, which is a real pain in the ass. And I was saying in my first two videos, first, of how like the internet's changed, and it's kind of our fault for letting it become like that, and kind of just succumbing to that and not supporting people who are, because people are still making their own websites. It's just like such an afterthought at this point. You know, it's like, oh, you have a website, but like, I'm lazy. I have my pin tabs in Chrome, and those are the only sites I ever usually go to unless I have to Google search to answer a specific problem of something. Other than that, I don't leave Twitter or YouTube or Tumblr or whatever. And they're designed to kind of keep you engaged. It's like their whole money making thing is just you got to stay on that site. Especially
they trap you.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to stay there that you just keep following more and more shit that, like, maybe, like, I mean, I follow so many YouTube channels and I have a constant feed of YouTube, but most of it is very disposable. It's like there's a lot of YouTube channels I wouldn't even be watching if not for the fact that they're on YouTube. You know, and therefore they show up in my feed. It's stuff that I might have checked up on once every few months, as opposed to watching it every day.
Yeah, the thing that I'm finding is my poison with YouTube right now is because I only follow like you guys and a handful of other channels that I find relevant. I just like did a mass unfollowing of people on YouTube yesterday. My problem is that like the home tab is just ruining me. Like the automatically curated list, like I just get trapped in that, because when you open up the website or the mobile app, it opens to that tab, and it's like, these are the things that we've like think you're gonna like based on all the stuff you've already watched, and I just get sucked into that, and like 9 times out of 10 I'm watching stuff on there and on my subscription fee, because it's so small, it doesn't have new updates every day.
Well, I'm totally the opposite. I don't go to the homepage at all because I have bookmarked the subscriptions page, so I only ever go there. But I just follow, like, you know, well over 100 channels, probably close to 150 now at this point.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And a lot of them are vlogs and like people who post frequently, because as you get sort of into the machine, it really does become just television. You know, like I don't have cable in my house, and the main way that people watch TV, at least in my experience, it was always like this, is to waste time. You watch TV because you have nothing to do, so you just throw it on and let it run. And that's fine, and that's what YouTube is definitely orienting itself towards. They want more of these channels that are like this. But I feel like everyone is trying to chase that now. Everybody wants to be one of these guys, you know, somebody who's got content out constantly, wants to be part of that wave, and it's just drawing everyone's attention away from the other stuff, you know. And a lot of the beauty of why we all got on the internet in the first place, why we all left TV, was because the internet was offering us something more specific, more suited to our niche, something that we didn't have to feel like was just wasting our time, you know. And now the internet's turning into that. It's just becoming TV, which we thought we were escaping.
Yeah, I mean, the kind of like nail in the coffin right now is with YouTube TV, which is just bringing TV back to the platform that was designed and like grown to like supplant TV. And it's just like, I don't want to go all conspiracy theory on it, because a lot of people are saying that like this is a huge power play by these companies to crush the YouTubers and the alternate media to get them back where they want to be. And I don't know if I'd go that far, because that just seems not in their best interest.
The thing is that everyone's trying to say it like, you know, like it's a conspiracy or power play, and like I think it's totally reasonable to think that they're trying to do that. Not that they're necessarily trying to crush YouTubers, but just that they need relevance. Like, they're dying, you know? Everyone's leaving TV, so TV's like, well, we got to go to where the people are. Let's go on. Let's go, you know, get on the same platforms with them. But yeah, again, it is just like a totally different intention from what we're here for, you know? We came to escape this mass-marketed, you know, appeals to absolutely everybody, lowest common denominator kind of stuff, so we could find stuff that was, like, just for us, you know?
Yeah.
But more and more people are being, I think, discouraged to make that kind of very specific stuff, because we're all trying to, you know, we see it as like the only ways to get famous on the internet now are to be a well, I shouldn't even say ways. The only way is to be a YouTuber, is what it looks like to a lot of people. And so everyone who wants to make any money is like, well, I gotta be a YouTuber, you know, I gotta jump on that, because that's what everyone's doing, YouTuber or podcaster, you know?
Yeah. And it's just like, you know, there are a lot of small things that could probably gain like a micro audience, but a lot of people probably don't feel like it's worth it, just because like they want it to be their job and they want this to be the only thing they do. It's like, well, I could do a podcast and that'd be my entire living, or I could do this niche thing that I really want to do, and I'd have to like do something else in the meantime anyway, so I might as well just go podcast. It's like the Game Grump syndrome, essentially, you know. Everyone's having that revelation now.
I think what's causing it is that it's so, like, the way YouTube has the system in place to make money is so easy, and like we all understand it. Like, I think that the YouTube boom kind of happened because, I mean, certainly I got onto YouTube because I found out about ad revenue. You know, I found out that you could just have them pay you per view, and it's like, oh, that's so easy and simple. They just run ads on my videos and I make money. Awesome. And then when that didn't really work out, Patreon shows up and is like, hey, just have your fans plug in $1 amount and you can charge per video, and it makes perfect sense and everyone's on board. And it's like, all right, you know, that's so easy and quick, and you can figure it out. And so, you know, because the ways that we make money, we're all going for the easiest route to make the money, and therefore we're making the content that fits that way of making money, you know?
Yeah, we're all basically becoming lazy, which is just what they want, because then we're not going to move and leave the platform. And that's another part of the conversation, is people are saying, well, we need an alternative to YouTube. And people have been barking up this tree for years now, ever since like Blip kind of first came on the scene. Even before that, they wanted another. But something I had mentioned in my second video talking about this was that I don't think that's the solution. I think I think long term it's not going to work out. Because short term, if you can, because right now short term the problem with something like VidMe is, which I, you know, because you've used it, is that there's no reason for me to go to it, because everybody who's posting on there is already posting on YouTube as well, and no one's going to just post on there because there's not enough eyeballs. So it's like a catch-22.
Not enough options. Like, the biggest thing, the reason that none of these YouTube competitors work is because when you actually go there, they all fucking blow. Like, VidMe has no descriptions, no annotations. It's got no, like, there's nothing I could, you know, add to the video. YouTube just has so many options, and even though a lot of those are pointlessly limited and really annoying, like how they're now getting rid of annotations and replacing it with the end cards, which are a pain in the ass, it's still more than what VidMe has, you know? Yeah. And, like, you try to go to Dailymotion or Veo, and you've got these really low upload limits, you know, like how much data you can have. It's like, if I want to upload an hour-long vlog at 720p, YouTube's the only place that's going to accept that, you know? So, like, just none of the competitors are offering anything close to the level of service that YouTube is, which is why, I mean, that's the funny thing about it. They are the best service. Like, as many problems as we have with YouTube, as much as I hate it, it is still better than all of the alternatives. And that's what people need to understand about, like, why we're not all just mass exodusing, because, you know, we need something that's actually better if we're going to leave.
Yeah, you need a better mousetrap. And I think the problem I even have then, going like long term, is that, okay, let's say someone builds a better mousetrap and like we get a better YouTube. Like, it's YouTube, it has everything YouTube has but better. And we're all like, yeah, we're going to make the switch. We're going to do that. We're going to get away from YouTube's draconian policies and all this bullshit that we don't like. We're going to go there because they're not doing it. The problem is, like, I think just financially speaking, like, this almost seems like an inevitability. Because, like you said, all these other websites right now have, like, arbitrary upload limits and stuff. And that's because they don't have the money to afford the server space it would take to host all this video. So people are expecting, like, all these sites to be the new Twitter and the new YouTube, but not pander to corporate interests, when the fact of the matter is, like, they're a business that costs, like, millions and millions and millions of dollars to run. And YouTube still isn't making money yet. They're still operating at a loss, even right now. That's why they're probably making this TV play right now, because the mainstream kind of entertainment venues have a lot of cash in the bank to give them. So it's just like...
Yeah, well, that's the thing. All of these, every single one of these social media sites is too big to live. And, you know, yeah, like you're saying, moving everybody to another site is not the solution. The solution should be everyone go get your own site. You know, everyone go find a way. Like, I think what we ultimately need is smaller audiences with bigger payouts.
Yes.
Because the problem is that ads became worthless. And in the early days of the internet, ads were worth something. Like, you could have websites, there were tons of, webcomics back in the day, which were really successful because they just ran a few banner ads, and those made a lot of money. And they don't now. Like, banner ads are worthless. Almost all ads are worthless. So now you get $1 for 1,000 views on YouTube. So if you want to make a career out of it, you have to be mainstream. You have to have hundreds of thousands of views per month, you know, if you want to make any money on ad revenue. And it's just totally untenable. Like, we're creating an environment where everyone who wants to make a career out of this has to chase the biggest possible audience, and there needs to be some kind of middle ground. I feel like this is happening in every medium right now, that we're having this huge issue with, we'll call it the disappearing middle class, you know? You look at the games industry, and everything's either AAA blockbuster or indie game. You know, you look at, and if an indie game wants to be successful, it has to magically erupt and become gigantic. You know, you look at movies, and you've got the blockbusters that are getting more and more expensive and need more and more people to go see them. And it's just like, what happened to just having a reasonable budget, a reasonable pay plan, you know, and a reasonable sized audience. Like, we don't all need to be millionaires.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's funny you mentioned that, because we were talking on the PCP earlier today about how people have this like binary thinking, and it's like it's manifesting here too. It's like you have to be super rich or just like this like starving artist kind of like super niche independent thing. And it's just, I don't know why everything kind of just ends up that way, because we had like this big boom of like the internet becoming a thing and like monetization entering the internet, and there was a lot of like everybody kind of coexisting and things happening. But now it's kind of, again, it's doing that split of like, there's the high end, and like the whole thing with the YouTube model too is that if everyone's chasing the high end, inevitably 99% of the people are going to lose, because the high end by its very nature is only the select few. So if you're chasing those coattails, most people aren't going to make it, and then it's just going to be a complete waste of your time.
And I mean, this is why I think that, you know, for whatever problems I have with Patreon, I do think it's currently the best solution to this exact problem, because it does allow a middle market. You know, it allows people like us who are not giant. You know, I mean, I'm pretty big, but like most of the PCP is making pretty good money on Patreon. You know, at least livable, if not, well, not everybody's making livable, but like, you know, some of us have made, you for a while were living off of just Patreon.
Yeah.
And like, you never had more than 50,000 subscribers on YouTube, 60,000. So like, you know, that's pretty middle, but it was still able to make money because we found a pay plan that made some sense. But like, there's gotta be better ways. And we're all doing this weird, shady sponsorship shit where like, you know, a product like tries to get in contact with us in these bizarre fashions, because I feel like, this might be a tangent, but I feel like the internet has made it so everyone can just operate in like a weird, disjointed, shady way because we never see each other in person, you know?
Yeah.
Like I get a deal with, let's say, Amazon, and like they want me to promote some show of theirs, and they'll pay me a certain amount, and it's all like this weird backroom feeling deal. No one's just coming out and being like, hey, we're gonna endorse you, let's like be a partnership, let's communicate with each other and like, you know, figure out ways to do things. It's always like, we'll pay you this much just to make this one video, and then I'm like, we have no relationship from there, and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like, you know, you would think at that point it's like, okay, let's like write up a contract or something. Well, this is the kind of work we'll do. You'll supply this on a semi-regular basis, and I'll do the thing, and I can expect this amount of money. But no, it's just like, again, because I work with brands for the tablet review stuff too, and it's always just like I have to email them, I have to wait like 12 hours to get a response, and then they'll just like ship something to my house from China, and then like maybe it'll show up and maybe it won't, and that's just the end of it. And like I got a video from like this company Samurai Buyer, who are like a reseller of like Japanese stuff. I'm
aware of them.
Yeah,
they email me all the time asking them to do stuff, but I'm like, I don't know who
they sent me something for free, and then like my channel died, so I haven't even opened it because I was going to do a video for it, but that was like a year ago, and they never responded. They don't give a shit that I never made them a video. They just sent me something for free, and that was it. So it's just like they're all like super, just like, it feels like you're operating a gray market out of your inbox sometimes. Because it's
that's
just
a great way of putting it.
It's just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, you don't know who you're talking to. Half the time it's like, is this person even like repping the company they're saying they're repping? Like, there's really no way to be sure. So it's just like really like sketchy. And I guess like the FameBit website is kind of a way to kind of add a bit of legitimacy to that now that Google owns it, because of course they do. That's kind of a good thing, because there's like some checks and balances, and there's like more of a structure to it, but it's still operating on a one-on-one basis. And then like you still have to like work with them. It's a one-time video thing. There's no consistent of anything. You got to like plead your case just for them to like throw a couple bucks your way, and it's just it's not there yet.
I want to touch on something like that I've only started to realize now that I'm like, now that I'm an adult in the world. This is the kind of stuff that I feel like, because we're in this new technological age, and like a lot of the older people just don't understand it at all, and the younger people don't understand anything about the old world before the internet, then there's a lack of like these systems that have been in place before. And like, let's say, for instance, I would consider myself first and foremost to be a writer. And it used to be that you could have a full-time job as a writer for a local newspaper, you know? And it's like it's someone who hires you, who you have like a career with them, you know, and you're doing it's like a regular job, but it's an art job. It's a job that involves you know, doing something professionally. And I don't even just mean like journalistic articles. It used to be that you could get, let's say, a short story or a you know, an ongoing story published in a local paper or something like that. And I mean, that's basically what we're all doing for YouTube, but they're not hiring us. They're not treating us like employees. We're all these very distant freelancers who have nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
And we don't know where our money comes from. You know, like we're just like, it's this weird, you know, there's no like face to face in any of it. There's no I work with a guy. There's no you know, and some of that is part of the appeal, honestly, because like it's very a good way for us to just break in out of nowhere without having to like sign a contract or you know, be beholden to anyone. And I think that's why a lot of us like it. But at the same time, where's our benefits? You know, where's our security? Where's the idea that we're working with a person? I think of like how you could be, let's say, this is something that blows my mind entirely, like cover bands, right? Like in the real world, there are bands that exist who just get hired to play shows at bars and parties where they just play other people's music. You know, that's their job. And you can make really good money doing that. You can just be a band who goes to a bar and you say like, hey, we have this set of skills. They pay you to get on stage and do that. And on YouTube, that would be someone by themselves in their room, you know, throwing their videos out into the wind and hoping somebody will click on it and that ad revenue will magically somehow reach them. You know, it's just like, why don't we have systems like that? And it's because there's no way to make money online. You know,
I feel like
there's no company who can pay us to do something for them and it'll benefit them in any way.
I think like almost in the long term, like the internet being the way it is almost like devalued the arts, because like there are a lot of I think it's because
absolutely
in the beginning with YouTube and stuff, when it was small and like self-publishing and stuff, when all that started, it was kind of seen as like a last resort sort of thing. Like, oh, if you can't get your work published, if you can't do this, then just put it online and it's fine. And like you can have like your little consolation prize. But now like it's a legitimate channel because you have such a bigger potential reach with that and you have more control. I don't think it was really designed to do that. Like obviously YouTube didn't like set up AdSense to be like, we're going to support people's livings with this. You know, it was just a way for them to make money off of the content that was already there. It was probably just like, well, we'll just get some views from people making cat videos and whatever. I don't think they expected PewDiePie when they were designing the AdSense revenue model. Yeah.
And it's, I'm just thinking like, you know, in situations like the cover band one, like I can clearly understand where the money comes from, is that this band shows up at a bar to play music and people want to hear that music, so they go to the bar and they buy drinks. It's all like, why this band is able to make money is because this bar is selling alcohol and therefore people will buy it. And on the internet, who's selling anything that anybody wants? You know, you get an ad on your video, no one gives a fuck. Most people have ad blocker. If they see it, they're just annoyed. I've never in my life seen an ad on the internet that convinced me to buy something. Yeah. You know, at best, I might have like watched a show that had a funny ad or something, you know.
That's really what blows my mind. Is like, I don't even understand how this ad model works. You know,
it doesn't. It just doesn't work. It's just people throwing money to the wind. And I mean, the stuff that does kind of work is stuff like the Crunchyroll stuff, you know, where like they pay you to advertise Crunchyroll and then people go sign up. But even that, I can't imagine that Crunchyroll's making a lot of money. I feel like they must be losing money on it, because the pay model is that like they'll give me $5 for someone signing up for a free month of Crunchyroll. That's a free month. You know, even if they start paying and they pay $7 for the first month, then, you know, like, how many freebies am I getting paid for?
Yeah.
Probably a lot, you know, like how many of those people sign up afterwards because the thing is that all the products that you can sell online, people can get for free. You know, a commercial for something off the internet that you see on the internet never makes you go and buy that thing. And then a commercial for something that's on the internet that you see on the internet, you can get that thing for free. So you're probably not going to go buy it, you know?
It's bizarre just like how this whole advertising model works. Just thinking about it, it doesn't make sense to me because I like you said, I've never watched a full ad on YouTube when like I watch it on mobile and it doesn't have ad block. It's always just like skip, just tapping it until it lets me do it because I just don't want to hear any of that shit. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like really overestimating the intelligence of most people. Like maybe people like when they jingle the keys in front of them, they're like, yeah, I want to watch this commercial for Budweiser or whatever. I'm going to go buy a fucking bunch of beer right now or something stupid like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm sure there are people who operate that way, that simplistically. Otherwise, I guess advertising wouldn't be a thing that people spend so much time working on. But I don't know. YouTube's kind of just messed up. There's exceptions, not rules, and making a livable wage off of this site. And even with Patreon, I've experienced firsthand that it's incredibly volatile because it's all donation based. You're not really giving anyone anything that they can't get for free.
As soon as they don't want what you're selling, then they're gone.
Right.
You know?
So you again, like even if you're trapping yourself with your audience because unless you start catering to them, they'll leave, and then you're fucked because your entire living is based on appeasing this small group of like 50 people, 50 to 100 to a couple hundred people that literally control your life. The smallness of it is what's
scary about it, is that it's such a small group of people who, you lose one $10 patron, and that's like, let's say you post 4 videos a month and he's actually like, let's say there's a guy who's paying you $40 a month and he's just gone, and it's like, well, that's $40 I don't get to spend this month.
Well, that was the reason mine was so fucked up is because I had 2 people who were patroning $100.
Yeah,
and so they both
anybody
left.
who patrons me $100, I immediately don't trust because it almost always they get declined. Well, like the end of the first
they weren't declined. They paid for like 2 years consistently. And I don't mean $100 total. I mean $100 a video.
Yeah,
it was
intense.
It was they represented half of my income for 2 years. These 2 people, and
they're literally just your bosses at that point.
Yeah, and it's just like what the fuck, and it's I don't know. It's you go online because you want that freedom. You want to be that kind of like entrepreneur who does their own thing and doesn't have to like have a boss. But when you have a small group of people, they're basically like your board of directors now. And you've gone public and they've bought into your company and now they have say, and it's unnerving. And
I mean, I hate to say this, but like I've always kept my Patreon like very much at arm's length, kind of for this reason, that like even though Patreon, the way that they tell you to like advertise is to like be very like, hey, you're all like, you're the first responders, you're part of the clique, let's do like a weekly live stream and all that stuff. And I actually think all that is more dangerous. Like I would rather that my Patreons, like the people who are patroning me, feel like it's just about the content and it's not about like being closer to me or anything, because that's when it gets volatile.
Right.
That's when it's like, what if you do one of those weekly hangouts and you get into an argument with one of those patrons and then they leave?
Yeah, like that fight cost you like $50. Yeah, it's like
exactly.
It's oh god, because especially when those are usually for the higher tier people. So now you're arguing with the people who have money to burn, and like they're like the people who actually really matter.
I've had like patrons who it's like someone who has a crush on me, and then when they find out I'm not available, they're gone. Like that's the kind of money we're making, is like this weirdly personal thing, and I'm just like, I don't want it to be like that. You're paying for the videos, I am a person separate from this. This is business. That's how I want this to be treated. That's why I hate the atmosphere of Patreon so much.
I was about to say, I really wish that if they had designed it, it'd just been like purely, if they'd just been like a creative PayPal and that was it, like that was the mentality of like, we're basically just a bank. That would have been way better.
That's what it should be. And it definitely shouldn't have this fucking corporate attitude of a bunch of smiling, giggling millennials talking about how, you know, the Patreon community, we're all about, you know, helping. Stop it. Just be a bank for me.
It's because, again, you're just setting, because we already have communities on all these other channels that we're using. Like, we have the Twitter, we talk to people, like, there's YouTube comments for better or worse. Like, there are already communities around all these people who are making creative content. We don't need another one, and we definitely don't need one that, like, starts, like, kind of, like, cross that line between, like, just person you respect their content, like, now you have to be my friend, and it's just like, it's not good. Okay, so we've been talking for, like, half an hour about the problems. We need to start getting into, like, solutions. Like, how does that work? So do you have any solutions offhand? Because I have a couple ideas, but I've kind of figured I'd pick your brain first.
I've come up with a few as we've been going along with this. And one solution that some people have kind of been doing, but I think needs to be expanded on, is to recognize that the YouTube video is the product. And, like, with Patreon, that's already the case. That's your fans, you know, paying you for the product that is your video. But businesses should recognize this too, that it's not just, run my ad on your video for my product. Make products around my videos. So a great example of this, do you follow Super Bunny Hop, right? Mm-hmm. Do you know the George socks?
I don't know the George socks.
So he had this kind of a meme product thing that he did where he was selling socks with his face on them and a bunch of iconography of the channel. And it was through this website that is a website that is exclusively for making socks based on, like, YouTubers and internet famous people. So their whole business is that they will make custom socks relevant to your brand that you can promote and make a cut of, you know, the money. And that's a perfect way of going about it. You know, this is a company that's just about finding a way for them and you to make money by selling a product relevant to your content, to your fans, you know. And Red Letter Media does they have tons of merchandise, you know, that's just branded stuff for them that's relevant. Like, they sell bottle openers. I bought one because a half-in-the-bag bottle opener is fucking hilarious, you know. There needs to be more of that, of, like, companies who aren't just trying to sell their product through you, but are trying to help you sell yourself to the audience. And because that's what it used to be. That's like what like a record label is, you know. And I mean, a lot of those are evil and out of control, but, like, there's plenty of smaller record labels who they exist to help you sell a CD of your content or your T-shirts or, you know, something relevant to you. I think we need a lot more of that. That's my first solution.
I totally agree with that. I just wanted to comment on that quick, just because it is a good idea. Because, like, instead of using that 5-second, like, pre-roll to advertise to the general common consumer, like, if you're advertising on somebody who has, like, 300,000 subscribers, that's 300,000 people all with something in common. And if you can target specifically their needs and their interests, like, then you're gonna have way more success. And
if you're a fucking if you're a company that makes DVDs or Blu-rays, come to me and say, hey, we want to make a Blu-ray of the Asterisk War Sucks series. You know, my fans would fucking love that. I would definitely sell, like, at least 100 copies of an Asterisk War Sucks Blu-ray if I promoted it right, you know? And that would make a ton of money for me and for that Blu-ray company. Why aren't we doing this? Why is nobody making, you know, a product of the videos?
I think maybe to take that idea and apply it to what it currently exists today is that we have a lot of those, you know, we have the print-on-demand merch sites that would allow you to do that and use them basically as the record label.
Yeah, it's like, that's more of that gray market back deal shit that I hate. That, like, no contract, no, like... you know, this, because those websites, they charge up the ass.
Oh,
you know,
do.
Like, they fuck your fans.
It's because you're not printing at scale at that point, which is way more expensive.
If you listen to the podcast The Dick Show. Like, Dick Masterson he's gone out of his way to make these kinds of deals happen, where he has t-shirts that he sells that are $20, very reasonable price, and they're high quality, because he found a manufacturer who would make like good t-shirts that he could sell, and he sells them at like a very minimal gain for himself. You know, like, he's not trying to make a shitload of money off of each shirt. He probably makes like $5 or less, you know. But the point of it is that it's a product the fans really want at a price that they will pay, and therefore more of them will buy it, as opposed to these sites where they try to make you fucking charge your fans $35 for a Gildan shirt. You know, it's like, it's a shit shirt, it costs too much money, and your fans aren't going to want it. They're going to be like, $35? You know, what the fuck? Like, we need companies that are like recognizing this and coming to big YouTubers and making offers. And I'm sure that they are doing it for a lot of the really, really big guys. But like,
I think that's again, the problem, because like, to make that model work, you gotta go at scale. And like, you know, I mean, you could probably get a good run of shirts, maybe 1,000 shirts, and sell some of them if you get the right thing. But like me or Nate, we couldn't sell 1,000 shirts. No way. That'd be like 10% of our audience buying shirts. It just would never happen. Right. So you like, the micro runs and the print on demand is kind of like the only business model for smaller channels, which kind of sucks.
What we need is those micro runs, though. Like, print on demand is the problem. Micro runs aren't a problem, because like the George socks, that was a micro run. It's like, they were $15 socks and they only printed so many of them. They sold out, so they did another printing. Like, doing something like that, I think is a good way to make it accessible and easy, whereas print on demand is always going to be super expensive. And it's like, you know, let's just recognize, I think, you know, for instance, Best Guy Ever, he could definitely, if they made like a limited run of shirts, like 100, he could probably sell 100 shirts, you know, if he had it, because he has cool iconography,
right,
and a great personality, and people, like, his fans really love him, you know, so I think it would work out. You know, maybe he'd want to be a little bigger before he did that, but like, it's possible, and it's just not being looked into enough, where, like, I was so surprised when I went to that sock website and realized it was exclusively for this kind of thing, and that's what we need more businesses about, you know, stuff that is like for this. And I currently am in, I just signed up with a sort of a network that is also like a talent agency called Studio 71, and I was asking them about this kind of stuff. Like, I said, like, can you guys help me to make my own pajama pants? Because I'd love to sell pajama pants, because it's relevant to my content. Like, everyone knows I wear pajamas at all times, so, you know, it'd be really cool. And they said it's possible they could figure out a way to do that. So I was like, hallelujah. Like, that's the coolest way I could ever make money, is if I sold a product that, like, or if I could make sunglasses, like my own round sunglasses with my face on them or some shit, you know, like, obviously my fans would want that.
Right.
You know?
I think those selling items like that is way more effective than like a mug or something, because like that's your value proposition of your channel, essentially, to get like kind of like thinking more businessy about it. It's the value proposition's you. Like, your personality is the product you're selling in all your videos. So anything you can sell as a product that's relevant to that interest is going to do way better than just be like, oh, I put my fucking face on a mug or some shit. Like, nobody cares. But like, oh, I want the Digibro glasses because I want to fucking, that's cool. You know, they identify with that. The same way you want like the Common glasses.
People already send me pictures of themselves wearing round sunglasses that they have purchased so that they can look like me, you know? Like, that's already a thing that's happening without me even having a product. And I'm like, well, hold on. Before you go buying round sunglasses, let me make some branded ones I can sell you.
Right.
Know? And then I can wear them in all the videos, sell my own product. Do you ever watch, you ever seen Bro Science?
I've not seen Bro Science.
Bro Science is a very long-running YouTube channel, over 1 million subs for a long time, and they make shitloads of t-shirts that are all just like dumbass gym puns that are hilarious, and the guy is always wearing them in the videos. Like, every video he's wearing a different shirt that they've made, and like, you know, they become kind of memes in the videos themselves, and so, yeah, they sell really well. I think that channel probably makes most of its money on merch.
Yeah, merch is good. Another revenue model that I've experimented with Rebel Pixels that actually worked pretty well for a channel my size, at least, is Amazon Associates.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know anything about that or how that works. I didn't know until very recently, and I'm kicking myself because I probably could have made way more money if I used it right from the beginning instead of just like 4 or 5 months ago. It's a way of making money off of products in Amazon without having to do anything really. All you do is you sign up for an account, and then you search for whatever you want on Amazon, and all of them have like a link that's associated with your account. So when you dump the link into the video description of like, oh, you want to buy this? Like, here it is. Like, you know, it's just like, it makes it easier for them to find something on Amazon that they probably would have bought there anyways. It puts a cookie on their browser, so for the next 24 hours, anything they buy on Amazon, you get a cut of.
Yeah.
And you just make money that way.
That's a very old school payment model. And in fact, the first ad I ever ran back on my fucking anime blog was that style. And it was for JList. I don't know if you've heard of JList.
Yeah.
Very, very long running anime crap website or Japanese crap website. And they had an associates program where if you ran a banner ad on your site and if someone clicked through that and then bought something on JList, you got 10% of the profit. Someone, at one time, one guy went through and bought something for $90. So I would have made $9, but it never got sent to me. I think there might have been like, I had to make a certain amount before I'd actually get paid or something, but never got that $9 from JList. Such a shame.
It's funny. Like, I'm surprised how well that's. I mean, my Patreon for Rebel Pixels is fucking pathetic. I think it's at like $50 right now, which is like just sad. Because like, but I mean, I'm selling to people. My target market for Rebel Pixels is poor people, so obviously it's not gonna do very well in that regard. But I make on average $300 to $350 through associate links every month.
Jesus.
So I'm making 6 times the amount of money with that. And
ooh, maybe I need to get into this associates program.
It works, dude. It works pretty. If you reviewed anime and just had a link to buy the Blu-rays and all your videos, you'd probably make a killing. Because like Christmas was like the second month I did it. I made $1,000.
Oh my god, I'm definitely looking into that because
it's good money. Because it's not just buying the product you link; it's anything they buy within 24 hours on Amazon. So if they click through and find something else you like, then they buy that instead. Like if someone buys my cheap little Cintiq video, like fuck it, I'm buying a Cintiq 27 and drop $3,000, I still get the commission for that. So it's like that's really effective, and it's very unintrusive, which I like. It doesn't require any like pitching or selling.
Of it is what I like.
It just you know, Amazon's doing its thing, you're doing your thing you would have already done. It's just by putting that little different link in there that the magic happens, and you don't have to pimp it or anything. I
have to wonder how sustainable that is, though, because, like, with Amazon, people are already buying all their shit on Amazon, so, like, is it really that helpful for them that you link to them, you know?
You know, I don't understand the motivation on Amazon side to do it at all, but I'm not really complaining. I don't think this model could ever be anyone's primary source of income just because it is volatile. It fluctuates a lot because it graphs everything out. Some days I'll sell nothing. Some days I'll sell one thing that gets me like $50. Some days I'll sell some little things. So it's very scattershot in how it works, but it is like a nice kind of like just icing on the cake in terms of making a couple bucks here and there. But I think for someone with a channel your size, it would probably be way more lucrative.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I had no idea they were worth that much. Like, if you, at a channel like the size of Rebel Pixels, can make that much money, then I'm sure I can make it. I mean, it's
the way it works is that the more you sell, the higher your margin gets. So it creeps up a little bit. I think it starts at like a couple percent and then goes up to like 4 or 5% the more you sell. I don't know. I don't know the specifics of it. I just jumped on it, and it's working out well enough, especially for videos that only get like a couple thousand views each. And the great thing is like for like
the problem is us talking about this means literally everyone is going to go make an Amazon Associates. Like, can anybody do it? Just
I don't think there's any specific.
Because what I'm always afraid of with stuff like this is that everyone's going to get a link and no one's ever going to buy anything on Amazon without using one. Because why wouldn't, like, if you want to support your favorite guys, you're going to constantly use their links, you know? So like, eventually it's going to get to a point where Amazon becomes a website that is exclusively accessed via these links, and then the bubble's got to burst somewhere, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I specifically make sure never to mention that the link is an affiliate link. I know a lot of people do. I just don't, because I know some people just be like, oh, fuck it, I don't want to give them money to buy something I already bought. I'm just going to go find it somewhere else. So I just like, I could probably maybe make a little bit more money sometimes if I mentioned that I was getting a cut, but I just don't, just because like, whatever, I don't really care. And the nice thing that I like about it is that like a lot of the reviews I've done are kind of evergreen, like they're still getting views, so they still make money even though I don't fucking do anything. Like it doesn't require any extra work. Like I stopped making videos on this channel for like 2 months to take a break, and I still was making $300 a month from it.
Yeah, I make more like ad revenue through old videos than I do through new ones a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's weird how that shit works. Any other solutions you have in mind?
Yeah, I have a big solution for how we can all get away from these social media things, because like the thing is that the reason we're all addicted to this is because of the feeds, because it's easy. It's very centralized. You don't have to look around. You don't have to like go finding everything.
I'm wondering if you're about to go in the same direction I was going to go. Keep going.
RSS feeds? Is that where you're going?
I was not going to say RSS feeds, but go on RSS feeds. I can jump. Yeah. I can branch off of that when you're done.
Like, there was a time when, I mean, this is still true, most websites have an RSS feed, where every time there's an update, it is added to this feed, and all you gotta do is plug a feed into a feed reader. And there used to be something called a Google Reader, which was very convenient. All you would do is plug a feed into it, and then that website, like the Google Reader, would just be a feed of all your RSS feeds. So if you were following 10 blogs and they all updated in a day, you didn't have to go to each blog. You could just click on it in your feed reader, and you could either read it there, or you could click through to go to the blog, which is the better way to do it, because feed readers don't usually have like all the they don't have all the data in them. But like Google Reader, for whatever reason, shut down. Now there's still the old Reader, which I still use every day because I still follow anime blogs and webcomics. That's how I kept up with Homestuck while it was going. Like, I would just click through on the Reader. And I don't know why. Like, if you ask people about RSS feeds, no one fucking knows what they are. Like, no one knows how to set one up. No one knows what they are. No one knows what an RSS reader is. But, like, this is incredibly basic and easy to use shit that almost every website already has built in. If you have a WordPress blog, if you have a Tumblr, if you have, I don't know if YouTube channels have them, but, like, you probably have RSS feeds on a lot of the websites you go to already, and if you plug them in, then this thing will centralize everything on the internet and make it so you can keep up with all these different blogs, but without them all having to come to YouTube to assume a new identity in order to fit in, like to basically make their content the same as everybody else's. So I think that rather than dragging everybody kicking and screaming to the same 3 hubs, we should have our own personal hub that we use to go and access everybody else across the internet.
All right. I completely agree. That was going to be my kind of big solution to all of this, was that instead of using these platforms, so we're never going to cure people of their addiction to the feed. Like, it's ingrained in just people's browsing habits now. You just got to change where they're getting the feed from. RSS, good idea. I'm going to raise you one better, though. I think the solution is email. I think email, because email, everybody uses email. It's on your phone. It's on your computer. Everyone already knows how to use it. All you got to do is just get an email list. And then you can email people whatever you want. There's some email autoresponders you can use for free. And people sign up every time you set up content. You get an email. Hippo actually already started doing that with Hypocrite. He set up an email list for the WordPress blog that he's hosting the videos on, and I watched his videos the day they came out instead of waiting because I got an email about them. So it's way more effective. The interesting thing with email is that it tracks everything. The problem is, like, to get a good autoresponder, you have to pay monthly, which kind of sucks to have to buy into something, but the flexibility a good autoresponder gives you is kind of fucking amazing. You can do things where it tracks your open rates of your emails, so you can figure out which things people read more in your emails and not, so you can get more people to open your emails. You can do A/B testing, so you can have 2 different versions of the email, send it to 20% and 20% of your list, and then the other 60% gets the one that opened better. You can set up campaigns, so like, let's say I want someone to subscribe to Rebel Pixels, to the email list, so they get my videos and stuff, so they can get my content. I can say, hey, I have this free product, give me your email address and I'll send it to you. It's like a PDF talking about like the 10 best tablets to get for each user's case, right? So they sign up to my email list, they get that thing for free. The autoresponder will automatically send that email as soon as somebody signs up. And then you can have 4 more emails automatically that you've typed up months ago that'll send over the next like 2 or 3 weeks that gets them into your content that you don't have to do anything about. It just does this all automatically. And then the feed will just continue every time you post a new video. You just have your autoresponders send an update. They're like, oh, it's coming. It's coming. And everybody has email already. Everybody, it's bigger than Twitter. It's bigger than YouTube. It's bigger than all these sites already. Everybody uses it and knows how it works. So I think the solution that everyone should be doing is just like pay the like $30, $40 a month, get an autoresponder, and just use email. Because it's completely customizable. It's all just CSS. So you can design the emails to look exactly how you want, behave exactly how you want, and you can track everything about them. And you can use them for, like, I can send you to a blog, I can send you to my YouTube channel, I can send you to anywhere on the internet. It doesn't have to just be for my one platform. I can make my platform anything and everything. If I have a new platform I want to start promoting, instead of trying to have to build it, I can just talk to the same list, and they won't even notice the difference. And then it can just start building from there. So I just think that email is like, everyone forgets about email because it's so old, but like, everybody still uses it. And it's super flexible and effective.
I think that your idea is genius, and I have an additional point, but I also am going to raise all the reasons I think that it's not going to happen. My additional point that I think is really sexy about what you just described is how easy it would be to direct people back to stuff that they missed. Because the worst thing to me about finding a YouTube channel and subscribing is that people then just have to, like, explore your channel in a totally chaotic way. Like, if I find a channel with hundreds of videos on it, then it's like, where do I start? How do I figure out, like, who this guy is, or, like, which videos are important? Which ones do I need to see to better understand the context going forward? You know, should I, like, because the oldest ones are probably shit, but then there's probably some that are really important to the overall narrative of the creator and stuff. And, like, if I had a way that when someone subscribed, then it would send them an email of, like, here's the 10 videos you should watch right now, like, that would be fucking incredible, you know, to just, like, every time someone new shows up, they immediately get, like, caught up. Like, I could send, like, the story so far, you know, is sent to your email. It, like, explains what they're in for now. Or even does so in piecemeal over the course of weeks. That would be really cool. Here's the reasons I think email isn't working, and maybe it will if we could curb these issues. The first one is I think there's still a lot of fear around emails, because we still have this, like, sense that your email is very personal and that it has all this important, like, guarded information, and that, like, if you know, people are always wary about what shows up in their emails. People are always like, oh, I don't want to give out my email address, you know, even though I don't know that, like, I mean, your email address is out there, man. Like,
I mean, you use your email address to sign up for all these sites you use anyway, so
exactly.
Like, how guarded is it really at this point?
But there's definitely this sense that, like when you hear people say, like, sign up for my email list, they always then follow it up with, like, I'm not going to send you any spam, I'm not going to send you any viruses, and it's like, that's what people are worried about, I guess, is that, like, we're going to, you know, if they end up on an email list, then they're going to get a bunch of shit they don't want for some reason. So I think there's definitely some stigmas on email that make it hard to pitch. And then there's also just, like, the fact that email is also how we communicate. And I think it maybe is in a different headspace from, like, consuming content. Because, like, personally, I hate my emails. Like, most of it's stuff like companies wanting to sponsor with me or some shit that I just don't even read. I just click through them all. Or I get all these, like, spam and all this crap from, like, stuff I've signed up for that I forgot about. And then, like, you know, occasionally an email that I have to respond to, and, like, it's just a very different headspace to go into, like, responding to something than it is from consuming something. So, like, I feel like the best way to do it would be if, you know, maybe there was, because they have those tabs on email where it's like your, you know, your important shit, your social media shit, and your promotional shit. And if there was, like, another tab that was just, like, a subscription feed, like artists tab, that would be great, you know, for this kind of thing. But I just don't know if people compartmentalize their email in the right way that this would work out. But I mean, if we had a system exactly like this, like if we could somehow combine the RSS reader with the email, like find something that's basically the best of both worlds, then I think that would be perfect, you know?
Yeah. I think
or if we each had like if it was a common thing to have an alternate email address that was for this, you know, like, I mean, I have a bunch of emails, but I really only sign into the main one, you know, but if I had an email that I had set up just to follow people as though it were a, you know, an RSS feed, then that would be a great way to go about it.
All right, well, we're not going to air this podcast now. We're going to sit down and we're going to make this product. It's going to make us $1 billion, and then we'll be the richest guys ever.
I don't know how we'll make money off of it. I don't know how Gmail makes money.
Well, I know they serve ads in the mobile app now. Like, you go into one of those tabs, the top thing's always an ad for, like, Zeusk or something stupid. But, yeah, I think they probably just collect data. That's how Google makes all their money.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They know the porn you watch. It's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely think our biggest thing we need on the internet is get off of social media, get onto, you know, your own sites, or just fucking anything. Like, it's just so shitty that we're all changing our content to fit the social media. That, like, you know, everybody who's on Twitter has now become a Twitter. You know, they now make content designed for 140 characters or for the certain reply systems, or, you know, let me take, like, there's a lot of anime Twitters I follow who post screenshots from episodes, and it's always like, you know, 4 screenshots because that's how many pictures you can upload in one tweet. And like, I mean, I don't even dislike that format, but I just feel like, man, what if we could do whatever we wanted and not just make it the exact same system? It's just all homogenized.
It's like, how many like new interesting ideas have been lost because, like, you have to do it this way.
Well, it used to be that, like, when I think back to anime blogs, each one had an identity of how they did things. And I mean, there's already a limitation in that it's on a screen. You know, it's a 2-dimensional plane. It's something you have to scroll down through. Like, there's only one real way to observe a page, but there's a lot of different things you can do with that page. You could embed videos, you could use GIFs, you can have images, you can have text, and you can arrange it however you want. There's this really great article that probably everybody should read, including myself. I never actually read it, even though it was amazing, called "What is Code?" And it's like a 32,000 word article. It's like basically a novella, like explaining what code is, how to do it, and like everything you need to know about code. It's Code 101. But as you scroll through this article, it keeps morphing the page and doing all this like really interesting shit where like images are like flying in and out, and like the page is just basically they did a lot of crazy shit with code. And when you go through that, you really understand how much a website can do, like how many different things could be coded into a website, how much the like, you know, we could change the art of how we do things online if we were coming at it from the perspective, like with the approach of, let me do interesting stuff, you know? And when I think back to WordPress blogs and how you had some guys who would post stuff that was just like a huge dump of images and a paragraph of text, and that's fine. That's one guy's style. And then you have the people who do like paragraph, image. That's like the kind of stuff I did. You had guys like my friend Ghost Lightning who would put slideshows in the middle of a post, you know? Like, these are all just very different approaches, and each blog had its own personality, and now that would just all be YouTube videos. And not that you can't do a lot of interesting stuff with YouTube videos. You can, and people have. You know, video is a pretty deep medium in itself, but what if we could have video without having it be the video's at the top of the page, and there's a description that, you know, you can only hold so many characters and so many links, and, like, imagine if you had, let's say you go to my blog and there's an embedded video on the page, and every couple of minutes I have a click-through link on the video that takes you to another part of my web page. And, you know, as you go down the page, maybe there's 2 videos on the same page. Maybe they interact with each other in some kind of interesting way. Maybe, you know, there's videos and images and text, and all of it feeds into one another. Like, there's just so many things that we could do that no one's ever going to try, because we're all trying to move to the same place. We're all trying to go to YouTube. And, like, I feel like we should be right now in this era where there's so many people with access to so many creative tools online. We should be in a golden age of creativity. We should be seeing stuff every day that we didn't even realize was possible. You know, I remember the mid-2000s was a period of me constantly having my mind blown by every new thing I saw that made me go, oh my god, you can build a website like this? Like XKCD comics, you know, where you'd be reading a stick figure comic and then one day it turns into like a video game, or the whole website is a code machine and you have to type in passwords to make different stuff happen. And like, no one's doing that now. You know, that's not the internet anymore. Now it's, you go there to get exactly what you thought you were going to get when you logged on.
I think the end of the day, the thing that's really necessary is finding out a way to monetize those micro audiences, because I think more people would experiment with that if they knew that, like, yeah, I'm not going to get like 10 billion views, but I'm going to get, you know, a similar amount of money by monetizing this in a different way. And I think Patreon's kind of like a good stopgap for that, especially right now. But I think in terms of making those micro audiences sustainable and even making that content discoverable, there has to be another way, not only of monetizing the content, but finding it as well. Yeah. Because if you want to do something off YouTube, you're kind of fucked, you know? Yeah. It's really difficult.
I mean, it's not too bad to just like, we're at a point now where you basically should just have a YouTube channel that redirects to everything you do, you know? Like, I have a Reddit, and my Reddit board has been a great way for me to make stuff that's just totally not for anybody and just post it, and like 10 people will see it, and that's fine, you know? And what I should be doing, what we all should be doing, is having a fucking tip jar beneath everything we do. And just like, if I make a random 10-minute audio drama and post it on my Reddit, I should just have a link to like, press this button and it gives me $1 on PayPal, you know, like, because someone might press that button, even if it's only one person, you know, like, just, we gotta find ways to make it easy for people to pay for shit, because in this complacent world, we're all going for the path of least resistance, but we need to make it so there's more than one path of least resistance.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, to get a new path of least resistance means you got to cut through the weeds, and that's a pain in the ass, but somebody's got to fucking do it.
Exactly. We got to be trailblazers here.
Yeah. So we got to make that new product that combines email and RSS. It'll be called something, patent pending, and then we'll be the guys.
I got to start doing it myself currently, because I think I am... Even though I'm making pretty good money, and this is why I'm not thinking about this too hard, it's becoming more and more clear to me that I am like dramatically underselling myself. Because I put out so much product. Like, you know, I'm a fucking workhorse. I've got like videos and audio and text and everything coming out constantly, and most of it is not being monetized at all.
I think that's the huge problem, you know? Is with the internet in general, if we traded exposure for profit. You know, like, it's so much easier to find our stuff, but it's become so much more difficult to actually convince people it's worth a damn, other than their eyeballs. And that's kind of like... And part of the problem is that it's been cheapened by there being so much free shit, and everyone's just kind of entitled to it. And, you know, we're not... That's the thing about, like, that need for companies that realize that we are the product, is that we need someone... to be making to find a way to make money off of this. So, like, you know, if the audience isn't going to pay for it, and advertisers aren't going to make money off of it, someone's got to find a way to make money off of it. And I don't think the solution is just something like Patreon, where we just tell the audience, give me money, because while it does work to some extent, as we've discussed, it's volatile, and it's you know, it's not as sustainable. We need companies that are dedicated to like managing this, you know, companies who are there to help us make sense of this and figure out how to monetize this, which I think hopefully the Studio 71 group I've joined, that's kind of how they advertise themselves, is that they exist to do that. So as I talk with them, I'll be sure to share whatever information they give me with the outside world.
regardless
to kind of bring it back full circle to what you were talking about before, about how there used to be like there are people like locally who could just write for a newspaper. Well, we really need something that's like the online equivalent of like local business, of like those people who like will employ people just like for a smaller audience. Like obviously the local paper isn't like the New York Times or anything, but there was still value in that, and the content you were making for that was worth a livable wage to that company. And I think we need more people online who are like, yeah, we're not going to reach 1 billion people. We're going to target a small niche. You're targeting that niche as well. You're valuable to us, and we can do a give and take here.
Yeah.
Get on it, people. You heard it here first.
Yep.
That's all I got. I'm burnt out. I've been talking
into
a microphone all day.
Clean hour. That was a good show. I think we came up with some good solutions. So. Cool. See everybody next time.
Yeah, take it easy. This is Tom Oliver for Pixels. Proud of you guys. It might be indie, but that doesn't mean we're alone. Catch y'all.